Hi friends, this is Leilani. Welcome back to my channel. Here I talk about all things transformation, healing, and the mind-body-spirit connection. I'm gonna go straight into this. We'll see how concise I can make it, but this is something very important that I need all creatives, all entrepreneurs, all content creators, all people that are changing industries right now, business owners, anything in between. This is for you, okay? So, as we may all know, we have trends in our society, okay? We have trends, we have things that become very popularized and commercialized one day, and another they will die out and fall to the face of the earth. And we also have things or just ideas and certain perceptions and cultures and things of society that may stay longer than others, okay? That would be more than a trend, right? It may be a movement. It may be an evolutionary process. So with the topic of trends, I want to give you an example of something, and it's all connected. So for most people, when you hear the word spirituality, you might think of crystals or some smoke in the air, or meditation, or going to a tropical island and getting away. That might be a typical way of viewing spirituality in a more Western context, I would say. However, we have seen, maybe I would say the past 4 years more so, the trend of spirituality, the commercialization of spirituality through the selling of products like crystals and certain workshops and self-healing things, and even in different industries, within film, within music, maybe those topics have been talked about more, right? So we've been seeing a rise in that. And this also has another aspect of healing and wellness. That's another layer to it. But all of this kind of together in that overarching theme of inner growth has been commercialized to having to buy something or invest into somebody so that this journey may be more effective, per se, okay? Now, with many people who were first involved in that trend, which is majority of the world, especially in the West, there may be a certain amount of people that no longer are feeding this narrative or needing to consume into this trend, right? So with that being said, there has to be a new trend. There has to be something else where people are going to be willing to invest or willing to buy or consume, right? Whether that be a physical product or just content and something that you can put your attention and focus to. So with that, there's a rise in people really honestly tired of being sold to, tired of having unfulfilled promises, right? And maybe quick fixes that sound really good, but ultimately lead to more spending or lead to more of a belief that there needs to be something else to solve whatever it is, right? And that's kind of the nature of buying, right? And simultaneously, people are catching on to that. People are catching on to those who have false promises, those who can't deliver, those who may say one thing but practice another. And what I say is that in this day and age, and as we continue to evolve as a collective, what was no longer will work. So you will see a lot of people trying to pivot or trying to change their strategy. And that's because they know that if they don't, they will be left behind. The thing is, my friends, is that when you are dealing with people's lives, it's not about strategy. Okay? Maybe, yes, you if you are a business owner, if you are an entrepreneur, if you are a content creator that does content creation for a living, strategy is an aspect of being organized and being intentional with what you create or what you invest in. Simultaneously, if your only approach is strategy, if all you do is approach from strategy without the actual experience or without the actual willingness and desire to be of service, that will catch up to you. And now more than ever. So simply what I want to say, this isn't to call anybody out per se, but it is to say to use your discernment, especially as somebody who is a consumer, right? If you are consuming my content right now, use your discernment in what you consume and what you invest into, whether that be your time or your money or your energy. There might be things that sound really good. There might be people that look really good, that strategically are really good at presenting to you what you may want to hear, or maybe what traditionally you've been taught to believe is the persona of the end result that you're looking for. Okay? But again, this is where discernment comes in. So the next trend being maybe possibly Christ-led people, creatives, businesses, purpose-driven. What else will there be? Christianity in general. And I can only speak for the West right now because that's where I live, that's where I'm located, but it might be in other parts as well. It most likely will be. But use your discernment that the fruits of the Spirit do not lie. And if you do not know what that means, is qualities of somebody, the character of somebody where there is a misalignment with what they preach and teach and how they live their life through goodness, through kindness, through patience, through self-control. And this isn't for everybody. This isn't for everybody, because if you are investing into somebody, if you are investing into a product, or if you are investing into your time into somebody's content where they explicitly are very obvious about what they're about, right? Like, let's say somebody is really much about, I don't know, making pancakes. They're all about making pancakes, and they love making pancakes, and they have a certain way of making pancakes. So if somebody else tells them, hey, you can make pancakes this way, they're not going to do it because they already have their way of making pancakes. Okay? And they may also have a following of people who love how they talk about making pancakes, right? And they don't need to talk about eggs because they're just focusing on pancakes. That's cool, okay? But if they see that smoothies are now something that people are all about, but they've never made a smoothie in their life, all they've done is make pancakes, but now they want to put it as they're the expert in making smoothies, that's going to raise a few questions, right? Or maybe their existing followers realize that now they're just starting to talk about smoothies, so maybe they're happy for them. Maybe they're like, oh, that's cool. They're into smoothies now. Let's do it, right? But what I'm saying is, use your discernment. Use your discernment, you guys. Okay? I think we're all in a time right now where I'm sure enough people have been played. And if you haven't been played enough, then you're bound to get played again. But I say this with love. I say this because I myself am a creative. I myself am an entrepreneur. I myself am embarking on this journey of learning and unlearning, and really being intentional and wanting to be of service, and wanting to just make good stuff. Like I want you guys to be able to feel like you get something out of the content that I put out, right? And with future services, I would like that as well. When I put out a service, when I put out something, I want it to be that, yeah, like this act, I actually got something out of this. I learned something new, or I feel different from this in a good way, right? Not in a way where you're constantly relying on me. I don't want you to rely on me. A lot of people will make it seem like you have to rely on them. You don't have to rely on them, guys. So when you start noticing that, where it's like this endless cycle of you actually feel worse than when you started, I'm gonna just say that, okay? So yeah, that's all I have to say today, but I hope you tune in for the next one. I think I'm gonna be talking about a lot of different things. And if this is a topic of interest for you, let me know. If there's other things that you are curious about, also let me know. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I will see you all on the next episode.